and welcome to Silver Linings Talk Show. We have Diane on Zoom, and we have, for our expert guest today, Janet Verney. I'm so excited. Author of Health Up and an integrative health coach. We are so excited to talk with you, to learn from you, and to just share all that you have to share with us today.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, and can you just maybe tell us quickly just a little bit about you?
A little bit about me. Well, I'm a grandma of two little grandsons, rugrats. I had a super career in biotechnology and education. I know, very different. And retired in 2016 to begin my journey with health and wellness, and absolutely love helping others to get healthy.
Awesome. Awesome.
So Janet, where does your passion come from? What is your story?
Okay, wow. Well, that goes back many years. I was about 21 years old when I came down with a lung disorder that ended up being undiagnosed, and spent a week at the National Institutes of Health's Undiagnosed Disease Program and had a team of 50 doctors. 50, and they analyzed me from head to toe and could not figure out what was wrong with me. 2 studies at Yale. And so what ended up happening is I just decided that I wasn't going to chase the diagnosis anymore. I was going to do everything I could to optimize my health. So it became all about being passionate about lifestyle, getting stress out of my life, feeding myself good food, and just doing everything I could self-care-wise to make myself better.
And that's how Health Up was born.
Yes, definitely.
So Health Up is a really beautiful, first of all, it is colorful pictures, which I love, amazing recipes, and great information. So Health Up is awesome, and that's like years of kind of experimentation and just things that you've learned.
Absolutely.
But a specific passion. I mean, Health Up is, correct me if I'm wrong, all plant-based, right?
It is.
All plant-based. Yep. So
Yes.
this is kind of how we're starting our new year, is really introducing some great ways to introduce more plants to your life. And Janet's going to help us with that.
Yes.
It's also gluten-free to add to it.
Oh,
so
I love
getting
that.
some of the gluten out of your life, which some people really need, and others, you know, can tolerate some, but it's about making healthier choices.
And I think also, like, this is usually a thought in people's minds after the holidays. We're in the new year, we're maybe trying to create new intentions. And I love the idea we're hearing about bringing more plant-based foods into our lifestyle. I don't even want to say diet, I want to say lifestyle.
Right. Yes.
So you brought with us, to us today, some of your favorite pantry items.
Yes.
Could you kind of go over those with us?
Yes, absolutely. So this is going to count as one, even though there's 2. This is one of my favorite brands, True Roots. First of all, they are organic, they are gluten-free, and then they're also sprouted. So when a grain or a legume has been sprouted, it makes it that much more digestible. So you know me, I'm all about gut health, and the importance of getting better digestion makes our whole body healthy. So True Roots can be found at any of the big box stores, the health food stores, and they cook more quickly because they're sprouted, and it saves you all that time because all grains and legumes should really be soaked and rinsed to make them more digestible and to get those enzymes out of them. But when you buy sprouted, you don't have to worry about that. And I am all about making it easy and convenient. So that's what those are.
What else do we have here?
I know this is a big one. You can get smaller bags, but I get this at a big box store. But this is one of my favorite, also sprouted. These are gluten-free oats. Now, most oats are gluten-free, but if you have a severe sensitivity or you are celiac, you want to make sure that they're not cross-contaminated. And so I always look for my gluten-free. And they're also organic because oats are one of the items that contains a lot of glyphosate, and glyphosate can really disrupt the gut. So this 1 degree, they use, sustainable farmers, and I just love the whole family philosophy behind this product. I use these in everything. I use them in my morning, dishes, whatever. I use them in my plant loaf. I use them in so many things. The butter beans, there's Vanna over there. Butter beans. So Eden is one of my favorite brands, and I'll tell you why. First of all, they use a BPA-free can, which makes a difference. You're not getting that contamination. They're non-GMO, they're gluten-free. These happen to be organic. I also love that they're no salt added, which they use a seaweed rather than a salt to preserve them. So you wouldn't believe what I do with butter beans. So this is one of my favorite fast foods, okay? This is what I call a fast food because it's in a can. I didn't have to soak my beans and cook them.
Sure.
So Eden Organics, great can of beans. I actually make chocolate frosting from them.
No way.
I do. And I'll tell you what, I serve them for company, and people do not know that they are eating beans on their with chocolate frosting on chocolate cake. So absolutely
love it.
Delicious, and you're getting great fiber.
Is that recipe in there?
It is in my cookbook.
Because I'm
my
curious how we turn
chocolate
beans
cake.
into chocolate frosting.
It
What's
is
next?
so awesome.
Is this next?
So that's another one. Almost all of my baked goods, especially on the sweeter side baked goods, like my chocolate cake and all my cookies, are made with Anthony's organic oat flour. Also organic, also gluten-free. It's finely ground. You can get even the bigger bags. I just get this one on Amazon. Sometimes you can find it at the health food store. But it's 1 for 1. So replacing your traditional overly processed white flour with a whole grain oat flour. So this is an awesome product as well.
Awesome.
Thank you. And then last but not least, the other product that I brought is kind of a funny thing for me. I have a pet peeve about vegetable broth. So this particular vegetable broth is Pacific. You'll see that it's low sodium because I'm all about getting a lot of the salts and things out of your diet. Also low sugars and low extracted oils. My cookbook is also extracted oil free. So what does that mean? Versus olive oil, I don't use, but I do eat olives. So I eat the whole food. Otherwise, it's a lot of concentrated fat. So in a lot of vegetable broths, you would not believe it, even organic vegetable broth, if you read the label, most of them have a canola oil or sugar or all kinds of things that you generally don't need in a vegetable broth. So this is a really clean product other than making your own, and sometimes I just save my scraps from all my veggies that I cook all week long, throw them in a crock pot. Sometimes I'll keep them in the freezer and then I throw them in the crock pot with a bunch of filtered water and just make a nice clean vegetable broth. But this is again a fast food, and I do use this for a lot of cooking and simmering things. So that's a good one.
Yeah. And we wanted to now share, you created a video.
I did.
And I asked you to create this one particular item because it is a plant-based meatloaf. And I was like, how on earth do you make a meatloaf without meat? So we want to share.
Oh, great.
Let's watch.
Hey y'all, welcome to Janet's Kitchen. I'm back with another plant-based recipe here, and today I wanted to show you how easy it is to make a plant loaf. So this is one of my favorites because you can make ahead and freeze. So in this bowl, I did this a little bit ahead so I was ready for this little video. All I did was simmer a half a cup of quinoa and a half a cup of lentils. And I'll show you my favorite brands. I use a Sprouted. This is True Roots. This is my quinoa blend and my lentil blend. And the reason why I love Sprouted is because you don't have to soak it, rinse it, and do all that extra stuff. So this makes it super easy. So just a half a cup of this, a half a cup of that, lentils and quinoa, and I simmer it in about a cup and a half of my favorite vegetable broth. You can make your own or use Pacific Low Sodium. It's the only organic brand I can find that doesn't have sugar or oils, etc. So that's that. So then what I'm going to do is, in the same bowl that I cooked, because I like simple, I am going to add a half a cup of sprouted organic gluten-free oats. Now, if you're not sensitive to gluten, you can just use organic oats. But I really love a big bag here, my 1 degree sprouted oats. They are the best, and they are gluten-free because I happen to be sensitive. So I add that in there, and then I add some spices, and let me tell you what's in here. So my favorite 24 herbs and spices, I use some of that, some ground mustard, I use some minced onion, all organic. I use onion powder, quite a bit of that because I love the flavor, and some garlic powder. So, and then I have also a little sea salt and a little pepper. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. And then I use also a vegan gluten-free Worcestershire sauce. This one's called Wizards, if you can see that. It's awesome stuff. And basically, I'm just gonna add 2 teaspoons of that. Regular Worcestershire sauce usually has fish in it, so just so you're aware, and it's usually made with wheat. So for those who are celiac or sensitive to gluten, this is a great brand. And then the last ingredient is a half a cup of plant milk. And I happen to use a soy milk that I absolutely love. It is organic. It's just soybeans and filtered water. There's no guar gums, carrageenans, and all the other gunk and emulsifiers that I say are not good for the gut. And you know me, I'm all about the gut. So I dump that in there, and basically you're just gonna give it a stir, get it all put together, and once it is stirred thoroughly, get everything nicely mixed in there, I am going to fold this right into one of my silicone baking pans because I don't use any oil, no extracted oils in my recipes. And that's another topic we can certainly chat about sometime. But in my new cookbook, Healthed Up, I don't use any extracted oils. Everything in it is, of course, gluten-free. So that is what I do with this. I'm gonna fold it into, this is my little cylinder. It's a little wobbly. Sometimes I put a cookie sheet under it. But basically, you just put it in here. I'm gonna throw this into the oven at 350. And then I will come back and show you the finished product as soon as it is done. And what I usually do to serve it is I'll slice it just like you would a meatloaf. And then you can drizzle a little barbecue sauce or ketchup on top. And it is just so delicious. I also love it with my Asian ginger sauce. Sometimes I'll do like a bunch of steamed veggies and some greens, and then I cut a piece of my plant loaf and put that over it and drizzle some of my Asian ginger sauce over it. So basically, that's what it looks like. Easy peasy. So that's simple. This is the recipe in the book. That's what that looks like, and there's Healthed Up. So I will pop this in the oven and I'll come right back and let you know how it came out. Thanks for listening. Hi guys, welcome back. My plant loaf is out of the oven and oh my gosh, I can't wait for dinner tonight. It smells so good. It made the whole house smell delicious. So basically you're just gonna cut it like you would a regular, meatloaf. I usually loosen the edges. I use a ceramic knife, which I find easier. And of course, always the first piece is the harder one to get out. But basically, look at that. You've got this gorgeous piece of plant loaf. And do you know what's in this? The quinoas, the lentils, and the oats. I totaled it up, and per serving, it comes to about 19 grams of protein. So don't tell me you can't get protein with plants. It really fuels you. So that's what's in it. I will wrap some of this in wax paper and throw it in a baggie, or you can put it in a glass container. So it's by the serving. I'll pull it out and I have an instant dinner with some fresh veggies. So I hope you make it. Give it a try. Thanks for watching.
That is so cool. I love that video.
I'm looking forward to
love it.
making that. And I think Diane had a question for you.
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to know more about what is the power of plant health?
Oh my goodness. It's like liquid gold to the cells of your body. It just absolutely fuels you without clogging your arteries or creating cholesterol in your body. It's just so many nutrients and antioxidants, and it just fuels you from head to toe.
So I always laugh when I go someplace and, I'm ordering a nice salad that has, lots of protein in it, because we know greens have protein, as does, a lot of the ingredients, and they'll say, do you want to add protein to that? So I know that you can equate, as you did in that segment, that plants do contain a lot of protein, and just taking time to take a look at what the protein values are in the numerous plants that you are eating is truly important, because plants also provide much for your gut health as well.
Yes, absolutely.
The various different micronutrients in that do help your gut health as well, along with the things that you don't put in your body. I know you mentioned glyphosate, you mentioned extracted oils. Those are things that are eroding our gut health, is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much, yes. We have good bacteria and bad bacteria, and things like oats and lentils and leafy greens and things like that, those wonderful soluble and insoluble fibers just completely feed the gut and in the good bacteria.
The good, okay, that's what I wanted you to elaborate on, because
Absolutely.
I've done a little exploration on that myself, and I find that, we've also heard when it comes to gut health too, that's where the root of all disease states are. So if we aren't fueling those good guys, the bad guys are taking over. And that's where the disease states of inflammation and things like that are happening.
Exactly.
So I'd love if you could just explain a little bit more on that while we have some time left.
Absolutely. Hippocrates once said that all disease begins in the gut. So it is the truth. The majority, unless it's a genetic disorder, the majority what we call, and there's an epidemic of it, lifestyle disease, which is type 2 diabetes, certain types of cancers, all of those things are things that will affect the gut. So, the gut affects those things. So lifestyle diseases are really things that can be in our control. And when we clean up our diet, it greatly improves.
So I think that especially like a great message coming from today's show to our viewers is even trying to make that New Year's intention of even bringing in 2 times a week just a plant-based meal that doesn't involve anything that we just don't need all the time.
Right.
And maybe integrating some of the cues that you just gave us about some ingredients that maybe you really want to avoid. Like, do we want sugars and oils in our broths? Or, just some of those keys that maybe we aren't paying attention to, a little bit more detail in our diets.
And doesn't it all come down to reading labels?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because like you said, things could be organic, but it may include other things that we may not necessarily want to have in our diet.
Yeah, including gluten-free. Quite a bit of the shelves in the grocery stores have gluten-free items, but they are filled with oils and sugars and tapioca starches and guar gums and so many gut disruptors that those are things you don't want to be consuming.
Well, I also love that in your cookbook, you go from like food to salads to desserts. And I love that you've got cookies in there because that's kind of my jam.
Yeah. Mine too.
Awesome. Well, we got it all covered in Healthed Up, and thank you so much for covering a lot of information here.
Thank
I know it was a lot to, swallow, so to speak, but
A lot to put out in a short amount of time. And thank you for doing it so beautifully with creating a video and, sharing in a little bit of time golden nuggets and your knowledge.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to try your meatloaf recipe.
I know.
Thank you.
it's going to be good.
Wow, what a year in review. Moved to a new state. I added a new house. I added a new career opportunity. It's been wild. How about you, Lynn and Dina? Your year in review.
Well, we're still here.
I can't say that my year's been that exciting, but
We want to share the excitement of our year in review from Silver Linings Talk Show.
Yay!
Oh, we started off with Mary Roy.
Yes.
She healed her cancer naturally and shared us with some breathing techniques. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Really
So
enjoyed
inspiring.
that. Yeah. Oh,
Ina Hoskins
that was, she taught us about not tripping over our finances.
and our clutter.
And
And our
decluttering.
Yeah, that
I
was,
love that.
love that.
Super fun. That was February.
Jonathan.
Yes, Jonathan Bangle, intuitive tax strategist, and just an amazing speaker.
Great energy.
Great energy, love.
And cared so much.
Yes, yes.
Oh, here we go. Ranger Rush from Hammonasset Nature
First,
Center.
on location. We were on location, remember?
Yes, we were. We
Super
learned so
fun.
much. It's a great location for kids to go to.
So much information, so much great information from him in that segment.
Mary McGovern.
Yeah,
Nurse.
Skincare. Put that sunscreen on, everybody.
that's right.
Even in the winter.
Yep, and make sure you use enough. Like fill that shot glass full of sunscreen.
You learned. You were listening, Dina.
I was listening. And Alyssa Lindquist, she was talking about all about being a mom and that whole piece of mom guilt.
I wish I met her
Oh, we
earlier
all
in my
have it.
life. Yeah.
Yes, and talked about mindset and shifting things. Really important. Good stuff.
Sylvia Guinan. We got to go to her house
Yeah.
and learn about her book.
Yes, the richness of divorce.
It applies to everybody, whether you're going through a divorce or not. Very, very informative.
Absolutely.
I loved her spin on things too.
Yep.
Debbie Sodergren.
Transitions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect for me, that episode.
Right, because that's when you were planning on your move. Like she was a perfect expert guest for transitions.
Oh, then we had Joanne Platinos from Privé Swiss who came in and showed us some moves on stretching and how you could work out from anywhere.
Right.
Love that.
And how you can, work out while you are out and about on travel,
Yeah.
anything. Rhea Pattison.
I love that dual episode. That was one of our first dual guest episodes.
We had two guests. Rhea was one of them, and we talked about caring for aging parents.
And the sandwich generation. That's a big deal right now.
Yep, absolutely.
And I love their tips because we don't have to be in it alone.
Right, and Elena Goggin was our second guest on that episode, and she is just such an expert with family life planning.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that was such an informative and really good episode for the sandwich generation. Heather DeLuca came in, and she is a perinatal mental health counselor. She's a lactation consultant, and she was just so great talking about those issues of new moms, breastfeeding, sleep, and needing support.
Great tips for grandparents too.
I know.
That's what I liked because,
Yes.
Oh, and then we had
Annie,
Annie.
that was so fun. Oh my gosh. Anytime Annie gets involved with connecting people and introducing people out there socializing, she gave lots of great tips.
Yep, and her book, Secrets of a Serial Networker. Very cool. Lots of golden
Quick
nuggets
read.
there.
Very good.
And Sherry Giancarlo,
She rounded out our year.
she rounded out her year with
I love
fun.
her eye for color.
Yeah, with fun and creating that really fun tablescape activity. That was awesome and beautiful. So definitely loved that hands-on, and it was gorgeous. And Paige Dest, we wanted to highlight Paige. She was a guest actually 2 years ago, and she has just recently unexpectedly passed. And we just wanted to honor and highlight Paige. She is working with emotional intelligence. She works with 6-second pop-ups. She's a global mentor. She was teaching teachers all around the world.
She was done at the UN, the United Nations.
Yep, she was at the United Nations, and she shared with us a video from Guyana.
And she will be missed.
She will be sorely missed.
She had a
And
huge heart. Beautiful person.
And we would love for
Instead
you
of-
guys to check out her episode, which was episode 3.
So please, go back in our archives and check it out.
Yes, and we just had so many amazing, wonderful guests, and we look forward to what this year brings for us in Silver Linings Talk Show.
Yeah.
So wishing you all a wonderful, happy new year.
It's off to a great
Happy
start.
New Year.
Yeah.
Many blessings.